Okay, so today is a huge day. We're going to take a little bit of what we learned from prospecting and a little bit of what we learned from fantasy baseball, and we're going to bring it all together. I kept telling you guys all along I was going to try to draw this together. I was going to give you spots where you can put the two together. Today is a day that we can take our prospecting knowledge that we've been working on and our fantasy baseball knowledge and we will have a solid, cohesive unit of hopefully finding some winners, picking out some winners in the prospects and fantasy. So, without further ado, we're just going to hop right into it. All right, so we're going to start off with a little tiny fantasy baseball flex here. But my team is Chipper's Woodshed, which is clearly a team that I would pick. Anything to do with Chipper Jones. And you can see right now I am in first place. Yay. Doesn't mean I'm going to stay there. Just means right now that's where I happen to be. You can see my team doesn't need too much work at the moment as far as the stats go. You know, my ERA could use a little work. My batting average could use some work. I'm definitely going to need some more wins. But it's early in the season, so you can see down here, like wins, I'm only 1 or 2 behind the next person. You know, ERA, I'm not that far off of some of these other guys, although that guy's shutting them down right now. So it's early in the year, but right now, holding it down. So what I was doing is I was going through here and I was looking to see where I could use some improvement and what players might be able to help me out to show you guys how you can find new players, how you can help your squads out without getting so far behind, especially early in the season. So what I do is I go in here and I look at transaction trends just to see who people were adding and why they were adding them and stuff like that. So I'm going to show you a couple of cool things that I happen to notice. I went in here and I was like, man, I need to find somebody that can, you know, got a decent batting average or somebody that might be able to stick in another spot or something like that. And I started scrolling through it, and the transaction trends on here, when you first pull it up, and this is going to be pretty much standard in any league, whether it's ESPN or DraftKings or anybody else that you use, when you're looking at the available transaction trends, it's going to be usually pitchers. If you're in all positions, which I'll scroll down so you can see that. If you're in all positions, it's going to be, mainly pitchers, because what a lot of people do is they'll add and drop daily on pitchers. If they see good matchups, they'll even leave a pitcher spot available. If they see a good matchup, if somebody's pitching against the Marlins or something, they don't think they're going to score a lot of runs, they'll go in and pick that pitcher up, which is what happened with Rasmussen here. I'm pretty sure, with his, you can see over here his ad drops, why so many people have dropped him. It's because he threw well yesterday. He's actually been pitching pretty well. But they've picked up another pitcher that was starting today. And if they've got the check marks next to them, that means they're starting today. So these guys are all starting today. My league, luckily, I don't have a lot of guys that go in and change that. We've all got pretty solid pitchers that we're set with. If we add and drop somebody, it's because we're kind of in them for the long haul. But not all leagues are like that. So anyway, to my point, I went in here and I was looking for, I needed an average guy. I needed some wins and all that. But I went in, I was like, let me look at the average first, because that's the first in the categories. And I pulled it up, and this is where the excitement came in. You can see on here, I was like, well, look at that. Jose Miranda. Jose Miranda, we talked about in my very first video that I made, the top 10 prospects for 2022. And I think he was number 9 on my list on there. And at the time when I started to do the research for it, Miranda was in AA, I think, and I had talked about in the video how if certain things came about, like Josh Donaldson getting traded and him having a halfway decent, start to the minor league season, that he would have a very good path to getting to the Twins starting lineup. Now, he did not have that hot beginning of the season that I had hoped for, but Donaldson did get traded, which freed up a lot of pathway for Miranda to get to the majors. And now they've called his bat up there. Like I said, he wasn't hitting hot as he did last season, but he's a solid average hitter. I mean, he's a good average hitter, and he's got a lot of power. And so if you want to go back and watch those videos for a fuller breakdown, I don't want to tie this video up any longer discussing how the players are going to play or what I think they're going to do. If you want to go back and watch that video, it's my top 10 prospects. I'll put a link to the video in the description so that you can go back and watch that video if you need a breakdown of it. But so I saw Miranda was there, and I was like, well, look at that. And so that's where I'm tying those prospecting into fantasy baseball, because I probably wouldn't have seen that Miranda was called up if I hadn't been looking at my fantasy baseball team, which is why I tell you guys to get into fantasy baseball. Even if you don't really pay that much attention to it, just for this research and this, just to see where players are going and what's moving around. So Miranda on the list. I was like, all right, cool. And to that point, when I first started researching, I think I started talking about this a second ago. When I first started researching Miranda, his card was like a $75 card. It's a 2021 Bowman paper, first Bowman card. He doesn't have any of the chrome out or anything like that I haven't seen. It's just the Bowman paper first auto, almost like a $75 card. Now that's I think I wrote it down. Yeah, now it's about a $125 card. In fact, as you can see, I've got them pulled up here so that you guys can take a look. These are the ones that are currently on eBay right now on here. If you want to snag some Miranda cards, there's some auctions, there's some buy it nows. Like this one here is probably not a terrible deal. I just don't know what the condition of the card is without going in there and looking at it. But so you can see that Miranda card has gone up from that $75 mark, which I tell you in some of my other videos that once they get called up, those cards are going to automatically jump. Now, Miranda had been climbing shortly after Donaldson got traded. His card started to slowly go up because people were anticipating him getting the call up. It's coming up now. You can look on the sold listings on here, which I'll pull it up. I'm not going to tie you guys up too much on this stuff, but you can look on these sold listings and start seeing that, right when he got called up yesterday, May 2nd, May 2nd, May 2nd, May 2nd, you can see these cards started to go as soon as he got called up, which is one of those times that you want to dump a player. If you're unsure, you don't have any confidence on what those players are going to do, then that's one of your better moves is to sell it as soon as they get the call up. But anyway, so as I was looking that up, I happened to notice that another player had popped on there that was in that same video, and it was actually my number one top 10 prospect for 2022 to keep an eye on, and it was MJ Melendez. Now, you can see on our list here in my fantasy league that Melendez is not available, and there is a good reason for that, because I decided, once I saw that, I actually dropped Adley Rushman, who is still in, I think he got moved up to Double-A last week. I actually dropped him and picked up MJ Melendez so that I could start him tonight, which worked out well because I have Contreras and Murphy as my other catchers, and Contreras is out like a day-to-day. I don't know. They didn't give a reason. So it worked out well. I mean, not that I would have minded putting Murphy in, but I don't necessarily like putting people in against Tampa Bay if I can avoid it. So you can see here that I have Melendez. You can see my squad. You can see what I've got pretty good. These are my pitchers down here. If you guys want to take a look at it, you're more than welcome to. It's nothing too exciting. I'll tell you what, David Robertson has been a godsend for my squad. That guy, and the Cubs as well. But you can see, this is what I've got. But I have Melendez in. He's batting 7th tonight. And to that point that I was making about Miranda earlier, Melendez, I had bought a bunch of his cards. In fact, I should have had this prepared. I'm sorry, guys. In fact, I just got one in a couple weeks ago. Yeah, here we go. I bought this 9.5, BGS 9.5. Hope you guys can see that. And I bought one of the regular ones. I have a couple more of these. They're numbered to $4.99 on the back. I hope you guys can see that. I don't know. I can't see my screen to see if you can actually see it. But I had bought a couple of those. So I have a couple of the Melendez cards. That's going to be tough to say. That's like almost a tongue twister, Miranda Melendez, which sounds like that would be a heck of a ball player's name right there. But yeah, so I have those cards that I had bought, anticipating him coming up. Because like I said in my video, and please go back and watch that first video if you want a breakdown of Miranda or a breakdown of Melendez. I want to know detail on them. So I don't have to cover it all in this video. But I had bought that for $115, that refractor, just the regular one, not the green. I had bought it for $115, and it's now about, which I pulled that up as well for you guys to see. You can see it's about 180, that is just the card that is hand signed on there. But you can see it's about $180 card all day, and I paid $115 for mine. So just by him getting called up today, and kind of the same thing with Miranda on there, as you can see, he got called up today May 3rd, May 2nd, May 2nd. Like you can see May 1st. Like you can see this, the 1st is when they announced that he was going to be getting called up, and you can see those cards started going. So that's the time. And if he jumps up and he has a hot start on this, then it's going to go up even more. And you can kind of see what I'm looking at on these cards. Like this is, these are players who just made that jump. So another point that I was going to make is I was looking earlier in the week, at some players, just kind of looking for my team to see, what was going on. And I noticed on here that a lot of people started adding Nolan Gorman, who we also talked about in the last video, the last prospecting video we did. They keep saying Gorman's not coming up anytime soon. You can see 31% of people already have him rostered, anticipating him coming up with that huge power of his. So it's good. It's good to keep an eye on these fantasy baseball things, because you can see, Gorman's been climbing because of those numbers he's putting up in the minors, and once he comes up, it's going to jump up even more. Okay, so I'm not going to get into all the fantasy baseball stuff in this video. I will do a separate video that breaks down helping people out with their fantasy squads, because I know we have kind of a split room in here. I know some of you guys hop on here to see the content about fantasy baseball, and I know some of you guys hop on here to see the card content, whether it be the prospecting or the openings or something. But I was trying to get everybody to see where I'm tying all this together, so it's not just a sporadic, I do this, I do that, I do this. I'm not trying to get that. I'm trying to get something that brings it all together, that shows that allows you to enjoy the sport of baseball through cards, through fantasy baseball, through watching the games themselves. I'm going to try to get out to some ballparks for you guys whenever I get on the road and start doing some stuff when gas isn't $700 a gallon. So I'm going to try to get there, and I just wanted to bring you guys into there. So I'm just going to go ahead and wrap this up. I hope that, I hope that you guys kind of understand where we're going with this, and tell me if you're okay with that. And I want you to check out those videos. I'm going to put the links at the bottom for those videos for the top 10 prospects of 2022, so you can go back and get a breakdown of Miranda and Melendez. And I will put in a link for that Nolan Gorman video, or the video that Nolan Gorman's in, to give a little breakdown on that. It's the top 5 prospects off to a hottest start in 2022 or something like that. I'll put that link down there in the bottom, and you guys can check that out as well if you want to get a breakdown on Gorman and some of the other players that are in that list. So go ahead and like, subscribe, comment. Let me know what you guys want to see moving forward, if you're okay with this direction, and I will get that fantasy baseball video. I was going to do it tonight, but I'm going to watch the Braves game here in a little bit. So I will let you guys go. Hope you have a good day, and see you guys in the next video. And I will put in a link for that top 5 prospects off to the hottest start. Man.